Pat Buchanan and Hagelin, but Nader the factor there, as we've been noting all this evening. In Washington, Mary Madeline, Mike McCurry, what are you thinking now? Mary.
Let's go home.
We're thinking we're going to send you some of our cold pizza. Would that make you feel better?
No.
Look. Let me say something. Since we're sitting here and we obviously are killing time because we don't know what the result is going to be at this point, that there is one thing that you can definitely say about either Bush or Gore. They are going to inherit a very divided federal government, a very divided electorate, a Congress that is split right down the middle between Democrat and Republican. And what are they going to do the day after tomorrow when one of them is elected president? I think that's the question we ought to start asking now. Now, the only thing clear about this election at this point is the agenda. Because both of these candidates and many members of the new Congress ran on basically the same agenda. They're going to have to do something to preserve Social Security. They're going to have to do something about prescription drugs, especially for the seniors who are on the Medicare program. They're going to have to think about how we improve education in this country, and they're going to think about how do we extend the benefits of a prosperous economy to more people. That's the agenda, and that's the only thing that's settled now. The differences between Bush and Gore on those were, frankly, at the margin, because they both basically are centrists running from the center of the political spectrum. So we are now left with a very, very divided government and no choice yet of who our next president is going to be. But one thing certain, what the American people want this new crew to work on. The question is, will they be able to work together to get some things done?
Let me disagree slightly with my esteemed and sleepy colleague here. There was a movement for the kind of market-based solutions in Medicare and Social Security that Bush put on the table before there was a campaign. There were bipartisan commissions with which this president kiboshed because he wanted the issue. Those were not things that Gore ran on. They were very different solutions. Gore's were all government-based. Bush's were all market-based. There was no opposition evident in the exit polls for that type of solution. In fact, in Florida, the very state we're waiting to come in for now, which we thought was going to be won or lost over Social Security, there was a support from seniors for Governor, soon-to-be President Bush, in my opinion. So I don't feel as negative about where the government action is going to go, despite these slim margins, because there was an effort afoot, a bipartisan effort afoot for market-based solutions, particularly on Medicare and Social Security. Also, you'll note in all the exit polls, the second issue cited for support of Governor Bush was the tax relief or a tax code reform. So I think Bush will be there. This was not a status quo vote, despite the evenness or the equalness in the vote outcome.
Let me suggest to both of you an idea, and either one of you or both can rip it apart if you would like. And that is, if you're trying to read anything into this election, and by the way, based on the raw vote numbers, it doesn't look like turnout has gone up much at all, if at all, that maybe one of the things that's being said by this incredibly close election is a plague on both your houses. Enough with talking points, enough with people coming on television and spinning the line of the day, enough with characterizations of the opposition that don't bear that much relationship to the truth. What do you think? Michael, go ahead.
Yes. Jeff, I think that is right. There's a lot of wisdom in something our friend Ron Brownstein pointed out a long time ago. I think that this election was about the American people saying they like the way things are going in this country. It's one of the reasons why they approve of the performance of Bill Clinton in office as president. But they want things to change here in Washington. They want people to work together. And at the end of the day, that may have been the thing that helps push Governor Bush over the top, because his message was more aimed at bringing people together to do the business of the country, Democrat and Republican together. Now, he is going to be put severely to the test. His very first assignment, if he ends up winning Florida and winning the presidency, is going to be to put the strong people in his party in the Congress, like DeLay and Army, in a box and tell them that they have to learn how to get along with their neighbors across the aisle. That's going to be very, very hard to do. But I think you may be onto something there, that what the message of this election might be is the country is fine, we're going along well, we appreciate the performance we've had, but we now really need to get down to business in Washington and start solving some problems.
Yeah, Mary, the way I want to phrase it, and just get your reaction to it, is that the thing that Americans see about politics every night on the cable news networks and in the Congress, the kind of what George Bush the father called this bickering, is something that drives people crazy independent of ideology. And I don't know whether or not you think that's right, and if it is, whether Washington can break the habit like you have to break a drug habit sometimes.
Well, and we bear some responsibility of that because there's a chicken or an egg thing going on here. They know if they say things in an acrimonious or provocative way that they're more likely to be covered. But I do think Bush was onto something when he said, look, we just got to break this habit. We who have been here for a long time, you know, we're kind of like, I don't in any way mean to make this a frivolous comparison, but we're kind of like the Mideast. You know, we just have these inescapable reactions to each other, which I think this whole new crew coming in will be able to change. Changing the tone requires bringing new people in with it who don't have these kind of old grudges, and I think that'll work. And I really believe this, having been here for 20 years. People who come to Washington, public servants it's a noble profession, and they make a lot of sacrifices. They want to serve the public. They don't want to behave like this anymore. They want to get their job done. They come with ideas and idealism, and I think on both sides of the aisles, they'll be looking forward to working together. I really believe that. Either I believe that or I'm really tired.
Well, one thing is really true is that nobody is going to be elected with much of a mandate. Neither Vice President Bush, or Vice President Gore if he's elected, or Governor Bush, or the Congress, which is split down the middle. They're going to have to work together to fulfill the wishes of the American people.
I'm curious. I know when you're not on CNN, you're on the telephones at this late hour. What are you hearing?
We're hearing the same thing that we've had guests on CNN and elsewhere say tonight, that they are, you know, both campaigns, I think, desperately watching those returns from those final states that are out there with no better idea than we have here right now what's going to happen. Long ago in the evening, their models, their projections, their turnout, variances that they were measuring all went by the wayside because it's now down to those handful of votes in some of these places that are still undecided.
But Bernie, I will tell you specifically in the outstanding states, Jeb's people, Governor Jeb Bush's people really feel confident, as they have all night, about what's left out in Florida coming home for the other Governor Bush. The field director feels, and was saying in the middle of my conversation about, look, if CNN is saying there's a 20,000 vote disparity in Wisconsin, she said, hang on, and you know, the next time you came up, there was a 2,000 vote disparity. So they're feeling good about Oregon, Wisconsin, and still confident about Florida.
Mary Madeline, your bet awaits you, as does yours. Mike McCurry, we thank you for being such real stallions tonight in our coverage of this fascinating story.
We hope you get released soon, too.
You're not the only one hoping that. Judy.
Well, we hope that you're not abandoning us. Does this mean Mike and Mary are leaving us?
Yeah, they're going to bed.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Can't we persuade you to hang around a few more minutes? Thank you both. Fascinating. Let's take, we're talking about numbers. Let's take another look at the raw vote numbers in the state of Florida, with 95% of the precincts reporting, 49% to 49%. I think Mary just referred to this. It's a 20,000, no, I think she was talking about Wisconsin, but this is a 20,000 vote separation among over more than 5 million votes cast. We're going to go directly to St. Louis, Missouri, to the man who would like to have been Speaker of the House of Representatives. Let's listen.
All of the people here and some not here who helped me win this campaign. I want to thank every worker. I want to especially thank Joyce Abusi, who's the best political director in the entire world. And I want to thank every one of you who helped me, who went door to door with us, who helped us make telephone calls, who took us to the picnics, who helped us talk to the people about the issues that matter to the people in this district. And I will work every day to help the people of the 3rd District of Missouri.
Dick Gephardt, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, re-elected to another term in the U.S. Congress, 2-year term. As I mentioned a moment ago, he would have liked to have been have an additional title there to be Speaker of the House, but as CNN is projecting, we've said this earlier, we think the House will remain in Republican control. We are going to look again at those numbers coming in from the state of